Hi guys, this is Shivardi. In this session, I am going to discuss few of the developer tools which will boost the developer productivity to build robust, secure and reliable software. Let's go and start. The first one is choose the right IDE. Choosing the right IDE is one of the top most important factor that boosts the developer productivity because most of the IDEs supports code assistance, analysis, code compilation, syntax and error highlighting, linter integrations, and provide the quick fixes. It also provide easy project and code navigations, refactoring the existing methods, introducing the variables or constants, and integrated debugger environment, and also help you to execute the unit test cases and also execute code coverage for your tests, and it also help you to integrate with the version control tools like git, subversion, perforce, cvs and so on. And here are the most popular IDEs available for your development, and based on your project and the programming language what you want to choose, you can select any one of these below IDEs. So Eclipse is one of the most popular integrated development environment to develop the Java based applications, and it also supports various programming languages. Just you have to add the plugins from the Eclipse marketplace, and you can start using Eclipse for developing your projects. And Eclipse supports various programming languages like Ada, ABAP, C, C++, C Sharp, Groovy, JavaScript, Ruby, R, Python, Rust, Scala, and so on. Another important IDE is IntelliJ, which is developed by JetBrains, and it is also used to develop the software. It is developed using the Java and used by many developers to develop the Java-based applications. And it has two flavors. One is the community edition, another one is the unlimited edition, which is the commercial software. But as part of your community edition of the IntelliJ, you will get the framework supported like Android and Gradle, JUnit, Maven, Python, and TestNG. And another IDE for Java development is the NetBeans, which is basically the modularized project structure, and it also has support for PHP, C, C++, HTML5 and JavaScript. Another important IDE is the Microsoft Visual Studio. Microsoft Visual Studio supports more than 30 plus languages, and it allows you to have the code edited and also debugger to support many languages like C, C++, Visual Basic, .NET, C Sharp, JavaScript, TypeScript, XML, Ruby, Python, and so on. So in order to support these languages, you need to add the plugins. So most of the IDEs are going to provide the plugin option where you can download that plugin to the IDE and you can start working on it. Now, if you are developing the Python based applications, then you can choose Anaconda or PyCharm as the best IDEs are available to work with Python projects. And also if you are working on artificial intelligence or the machine learning projects, then Anaconda comes up with predefined Python libraries where it provides the environment to develop the AI or ML based applications. And finally, if you are working on the Spring project, then Spring Framework project, then Spring Toolsuite is one of the best IDE. It provides the environment to develop the Spring applications, debug and deploying your applications. So these are the most popular IDEs available, and based on your need, you can choose any one of them. But before you start on your project, make sure that to understand the what are the capabilities provided by the IDE so that it will boost your productivity. So let's go for the next one. Choosing the right build tool. Build tool is one of the another key factor which will boost the developer productivity, because as a developer you are going to do lot of repetitive works like compiling your project, creating the artifacts, running the test cases, and creating the packages, and then deploying and publishing. So these are the repetitive tasks every developer has to do. So in order to avoid these repetitive tasks, you can choose any one of the build tool which will automate all these repetitive tasks so that the productivity of the developer will be increased. Now let us see popular build tools, some of the popular build tools. So first one is the Gradle. So Gradle is an open source build and automation system with an Apache Groovy based domain specific language. It controls the development process in the tasks of compilation, packaging, testing, deployment, and publishing. Now, Gradle is going to support various languages. So based on your requirement, you can choose the Gradle as your build tool, and which automate all these repetitive tasks. Maven is another build tool, is basically a Java platform tool for dependency management and automated software build. So Maven is a build automation tool used primarily for the Java projects, and also it can be extended to the other languages like C Sharp, Ruby, Scala, and other languages. And if we talk about the native applications, most of the native applications you might find Ant is one of the build tool where you are going to provide your dependencies or packaging your project, and also defining all the dependencies you are going to put it in the Ant based. So that is one of the native build tool. But if you are using Gradle or the Maven, then instead of Ant you can go with either Gradle or the Maven as a build tools. And Grant is one of the build tool for your UI based developing the UI or web based applications, because Grunt is going to remove most of the common repetitive tasks like tasks doing for the UI side, like minification, compilation, unit testing, and linting. So all these tasks can be automated using the Grunt, so that you can focus on what exactly you want to develop, core development, instead of eliminating these repetitive tasks. And final one is about the Bazel. So Bazel is a portion of this is the basically developed by the Google, and it also have capability to deal with the projects in Java, C, C++, Go, Python, and Objective-C, and others. Now let us go with, and one more thing is, whenever you are using this build tool, you can automatically use the plugins to integrate your build tool with different plugins like code quality tools, code coverage tools, and much more you can integrate, so that it will help you to automate your complete development life cycle as part of the CI/CD process. That I am going to talk at the end of this session. Let's go to the next one, is choosing the right code quality tool and integrate with IDE. Now, whenever you are developing on the particular software, developing a particular software, it is always good to find the code quality during the development phase itself, because in order to fix the particular issue in the development phase, it is very minimal. But if the same issue occurred in QA or staging or production, to fix that particular issue, the time taken is very huge. That is the reason we always need to make sure that whatever the piece of code we write, it should be high quality. In order to measure the code quality, there are so many open source tools are available for the different languages. So based on your requirement, you can choose any one of the code quality tool and integrate in your IDE. For example, if you talk about the SonarLint, SonarLint is one of the open source code quality tool which analyzes your code during the development IDE or development environment, and it will tell you like which piece of code is correct and which piece of code is not as per the standard, so that you can fix in the development environment itself, so that we can remove the code quality issues or finding the bugs in the later stages. So if you are working with any of these languages like Java, Android, PHP, JavaScript, TypeScript, C, C++, Ruby, all these languages were supported by the SonarLint. Now you can add the SonarLint in your IDE. Once you write a piece of code, OnFlight is going to provide whether what is the correct and what is incorrect as per the standard, so that you can fix and move on. And next one is the find bugs. This is the static code analysis for the Java language. ESLint, JSLint for scripting languages like ECMAScript or a JavaScript. Now, if you integrate ESLint or the JSLint on your IDE, and if you develop any piece of code for the JavaScript or ECMAScript, on fly you are going to get the feedback, and also it will identify what are the code quality issues. Then and there you can fix and move on. And Coviarity is the commercial tool, and which basically identifies the security vulnerabilities for your applications. And Pylint is a source code quality tool for Python, and CodeNarc is for Groovy, and error prone for Java. So identify your what is the IDE you have chosen, and then what is the language or what is the application you are developing. Based on that, you can find any one of the suitable code quality tool, integrate in your development environment, so that it will help you to identify the bugs during the development phase itself. Okay, so identifying the developer phase itself, which itself it indicates that your productivity is high, because if any issue comes later stages, in order to fix that issue, it is going to take much time. Let's go with the next point. Choose the right testing framework. And once, this is the follow-up on the previous slide, once you have implemented the code quality tool, then most of the issues related to the code were caught by the earlier stage. By chance, if anything is missed, then the testing framework comes into the rescue phase, where it needs to identify what are the bugs it is still open. So we need to use some of the testing framework, so that it will simplify the development effort. With minimal effort, you can able to cover most of the test case. You can easily write the test cases. JUnit and Mockito, these are the common JUnit testing frameworks for the Java-based applications, where you can write the test cases to cover all the scenarios. But if you have any, for example, if you want to write the real-time scenario, like you have to get the database connection, and then writing, and also you have to validate the business logics, then most of the time you may not get the database connections in order to write some test cases. There you can use the Mockito, which is the Mockito facilitate creating the mock objects seamlessly. It uses the Java reflection in order to create mock objects for the given interface. So mock objects are nothing but proxy for actual implementations. Similarly, if you are using the Spring application, then you can take the advantage of the Spring provided testing framework, instead of you are depending on the another frameworks. And if you are working on the RESTful web services, then Rest Assured framework will help you to write the integrated or the JUnit test cases for your RESTful web services. And similarly, Cucumber is the another testing framework, that supports the behavioral driven development. It uses the Cucumber behavioral development uh, driven development approach, and it will it will allow you to start your project with BTD approach that will cover most of the use cases, so that your quality of the software is going to be high. Similarly, Karate is another open source test automation framework that also it will help you to test the RESTful web services, and you can validate against the responses based on the JSON XML formats. And another one is if you are implementing the testing framework from the UI side, then you can use either Karma or Jasmine. These are the testing frameworks for the UI based applications. So Karma, the main goal for the Karma is to bring a productive test environment to the developers. The environment being one where we don't have to set up the loads of configurations, but rather a place where the developer can just to write a piece of code and get instant feedback whether that particular test is passed or not. Okay, so that is the advantage of the Karma if you are developing, if you want to test for the UI based framework or the applications. Similarly, Jasmine is a behavior driven development framework for testing the JavaScript code. So it does not depend on any other JavaScript framework. It does not require any DOM, and it has a clean abuse syntax so that you can easily write the test cases. Similarly, if you want to write the test cases for the Python, then PyTest or the unit test is the suitable testing framework, which will run the Python test cases and provide the on-fly feedback about the test results. The next important one is TDD or BDD for the new functionality. Now recently there is a trend in the market. Most of the applications are moving towards the microservice architecture oriented implementations. So for that, in order to provide the service, most of the people follows the TDD or the BDD. So test driven development or the behavioral driven development. As we said earlier, we have these certain frameworks like Cucumber is going to support the behavioral driven development. And similarly, in the UI side, you can see Jasmine is going to support the behavioral driven development. And also any microservices you are going to implement, make sure that you follow the TDD so that writing the tests and fails it and again go and implement it, so that you are going to find the maximum number of the use cases in advance, so that your quality of the code is going to be very high. And also with this approach, what happens is you need to maintain the high percentage of the code coverage. Most of the TDD or BDD applications will have more than 85 or 90 plus percentage of the code coverage will be there. So that more the code coverage, then you can say more the less number of the bugs you can find later stage of the time. So you always prefer to go with that TDD or the BDD for the new functionality enhancements what you are going to take, because changing the existing environment or the legacy code is very difficult, which automatically increases the regression issues. Instead of that, always try to implement these concepts for the new features or the new development activities, so that at later point of time we can streamline this particular process. The next important one is choose the right code coverage tools. So code coverage tool is one of the important aspects. What it is going to measure is to describe the degree to which code is exercised by your test. So for this, we use tools and probably make them part of our continuous integration delivery pipeline. Tools are like SonarQube can also help to generate the insights based on these measurements. So if you see here, there are certain code coverage tools are available for the different languages. So Cobetura is a code coverage tool for the Java, and which is a open source framework which will provide you the a report how much of your code is covered by the test. So more the coverage, more the test coverage, then more will be the software quality. Similarly, Jacopo is also a code quality tool for Java, and uh, pit test. So this is the real world mutation testing, and this is one of the interesting tool. Now most of the time what we care about is the code quality, but most of the time we ignore the quality of your test cases. It is just to get the code coverage. You might be written some dummy logics and you can say I am getting the 90% of the code coverage, but the pit test is going to actually check whether the JUnits quality is good, whether JUnits is capable to identify the issues in the code or not. What it is going to do is, so pit test is the real world mutation testing. Pit is a state of the art mutation testing, providing the golden standard coverage for Java, and it is a scalable integrated with the modern test frameworks, and it basically introduce the faults in your code and then it will run the test cases. The more test cases, more the number of the test cases fail means your quality of the test cases good. If less number of the test cases are failing, then quality of the test cases not good. So based on that, we will measure how much quality of the JUnits or the test cases we return. And if you are looking for the code coverage tools for the Python, then coverage.py is the code coverage tool for the Python, and OpenClover for Groovy language. Okay, so these are the code coverage tools available, and based on your requirement, you can choose any one of them so that it will identify the gaps where you didn't cover the JUnits or the test cases, so that you can go on improve on those areas. Once you improve it, then the quality of the software is high, and also you are indirectly improving the productivity of your productivity from the developer point of view. The next and final one is CI/CD integration with build, JUnit, code quality, and the coverage tools. So, as the development life cycle starts from pulling the code to the pushing into the artifacts, so we can integrate the different tools what we discussed so far during the software development life cycle. For example, once you clone the code from the GitHub repository your local, then you are going to import that code into your IDE. So you need to choose the best IDE suitable for your project and also for the language. Next one is you have to integrate the any one of the code quality tool, either it is a SonarLint or any other IDE, whatever based on your language. You have to implement one code quality tool. Once you implement the code quality tool, as you progress in the development, it automatically gives the real-time feedback. This part of the code is good, this part of code is not good. Then you are going to fix and move on. Once you are done with the implementation, then the next step will coming into the JUnits. You have to write the JUnits. Once you implement the JUnits, then you have to get the code coverage. So code coverage, how you are going to get? You have to use the whatever the tools we have discussed, Cobetura or the Jacopo pit test, and based on the language, you are going to implement that as part of the CI/CD. That means you can use the build tool. In the build tool only, you can integrate these things. Once JUnit is done, and you can get the code quality. Once code quality is done, code coverage will come. Once the code coverage is also done, then this complete development life cycle, you can put it into the CI/CD process, where you are going to take the help from the build tool, either Gradle or the Maven or Ant. Now this build tool will contains all these tools. First it will integrate with the SonarLint, and then integrating with the running the test cases, and also getting the code coverage, and finally that report needs to be published to the for the management to review the what is the actual status on your project. Then Jenkins you can use as a CI/CD tool, where you can define your pipeline function, and you are going to automate all these process from the code, pulling from the code to the report repository to publishing the artifacts to the higher environment. That you can do from the Jenkins. And also SonarQube is like a dashboard where you can, it has a provision to provide all these metrics on the SonarQube dashboard. So you can integrate the code quality, you can integrate the JUnits, you can integrate the code coverage. Then any management want to understand what is the actual status of your project, they can log into the SonarQube. They can see what is the code quality, how many blocker critical issues are available in the source code. Similarly, they can get how much of the JUnit test case coverage, and also how many JUnits it is passed and how many it is failed. At the same time, they can see what is the code coverage. With one dashboard, they can see the entire status of your software quality. And also even SonarQube provides the quality gates where they can define the thresholds. Like whenever you commit the code, it should not have more than 2 blocker issues from the code quality side, or it should not, the code coverage should be greater than 90. Then only it will allow you to push into the SonarQube, else it will fail. So those type of controls are available in the SonarQube. So with this process, by implementing all these whatever the tools we are discussed, it will really improve your productivity, and also help you to develop the robust, secure and reliable software. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you have any questions, please comment on my YouTube video, and please feel free to share, like and comment on my comment on this video. Thank you so much.